Hello, my name is Amy and thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video, it's going to be definitely more on the deeper side and just something that I'm currently going through right now. And again, I want to share this because I want to let other women know who are experiencing this that they're not alone. So I was diagnosed with PCOS 5 years ago. 5 years ago, in the midst of COVID, I was experiencing excruciating pain on my right pelvis, like side section of my body. And I can remember, like, it was 2 a.m. in the morning. And I was in just so much pain. I have never experienced the pain ever in my life. Prior to that though, however, I've been kind of experiencing that pain off and on. I could never really kind of gauge when it would come. It's just that it would just come out of nowhere and out of the blue. And again, at first I didn't think too much about it. I was just thinking, maybe I'm just not feeling well, maybe TMI, but maybe I just have to go use the bathroom. And then I would put like a heating pad. During that time, I took a bottle and I put really hot water inside of it, a glass bottle, and I would kind of roll it along the right side around my pelvic area, and it'll feel better. But then I noticed that as the years went by and the months went by, the pain lasted longer. And then not just that, but the pain was also as if it just kind of like elevated or mutated. And so the pain also got like stronger or a little bit more unbearable each time. Fast forward, August of 2020, I went to sleep and 2 in the morning that pain came. And unlike all the other previous times before, it would kind of come and go, and then it would eventually stop. But it did not stop. It was just hurting so bad. And so I kept telling myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to do the hot water bottle, roll on it, and it did not work. And so from 2 a.m. until 2 p.m. the next day, I finally called my husband, because then I started shivering. I started getting like hot and cold, and I started to kind of feel like a little bit weird. So I called my husband because he went to work. He worked second shift during that time, or at that time. And I called him and I was like, hey, I need to go to the ER. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm not feeling good. This pain is too much. And so he came home, he took me to the hospital. And unfortunately, since that was also during COVID, he was not allowed to go in there with me. So I went into the ER room. The emergency department registered myself. They checked me in. Well, I did call before, and so they just say, hey, when you do come, do all these things. When you come, we will be ready for you. And so I did go in. They did multiple different tests, and real quick, that was also the first time that I've ever had morphine. And I remember the nurses, they're like, hey, you're in a lot of pain, we'll give you this pain med. And I remember I was on the phone with my husband telling him like what's gonna happen. And as they kind of put that through to my IV, I could feel myself like started leaning back slow and start slurring my speech a little bit, like just my speed of talking. And I could literally hear my heart beat, like went really fast and then started slowing down. That was actually very scary for me, because again, it was the first time that I've ever kind of experienced that. And even though they did that for me, I still felt the pain. That didn't help like ease the pain at all. I still felt the pain. So anywho, after several tests, like maybe 2-3 hours, I believe maybe like 2 hours, I had a vaginal ultrasound. I had a topical pelvis exam done, a pelvis like ultrasound done, and all that. Because at first I thought that was maybe an appendicitis, because it was hurting really bad on my right side. And then after all the other tests were done, it was found that I had an ovarian cyst on my right side, and it was the size of a golf ball, and that I would need to get it removed, emergency, and they weren't really gonna know like how big or how bad that cyst was until they actually kind of went in. And so I called my dad, my sisters, my husband. It's like, hey, I need to go through this emergency C-section. Sorry, not C-section, sorry, not C-section, but it was almost like that. But it was an ovarian torsion, and so I needed to go through a laparoscopic surgery, and then from there they'll see what they can do. And so that's kind of what happened. It was very scary. At first I said, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And then as I started getting wheeled down into the OR room, and I was by myself, I didn't see any of my husband, nobody, because again, it was COVID. And I had to talk to myself, deep breath. I had to talk to myself, hey, you're gonna be okay, you gotta be strong. And it was, again, it was scary, because it's the first time I was gonna go under the knife, the first time I was going to be put to sleep. And so, I went and I did that. It took me about I was in the hospital for, I believe 3 days. And then I came home and I felt like my stomach was just on the floor every day, all the time. And then during my checkups, my doctor, during my recovery, my OB came in as a K. So we found the cyst. It was the size of a golf ball. We tried to go in, we tried to revive it, but it was already too late, because to revive your ovaries. So what happened was this cyst was the size of a golf ball, and it twisted around like my fallopian tube. And so obviously what happened is that then it caused restrictions of like oxygen and blood flow, oxygen in the blood flow to my ovaries. And so then my ovaries practically like was dead, my right ovary. And so the doctor was like, however, I know a lot of people, women, who have only one ovaries, they're able to have kids. And so she's like, well, you have PCOS. And like before that time, I kind of figured that I did kind of have it, but it was never medically diagnosed, right? Because I would always like search up certain things, and I would have those kind of symptoms, the one piece of hair that will grow 10 inches under your chin, or the random acne, like one here and then one there, and so I kind of figured that I probably did, but now it was that. And she's like, and of course, obviously the weight, right? Whether I eat less, even just breathing oxygen, I would gain 10 pounds. Even if I held my breath for 3 minutes, right, I didn't lose a pound, right? Even if I ate one salad a day, I didn't lose a pound. Instead, I felt like I gained 10 pounds, right? And that was really, really frustrating. Anywho, so she told me that. And then she also said, hey, you also have hypothyroid. You know, at that time, it was just so much, right? Because I'm like, okay, so the illnesses or diseases, right? I have PCOS and I have hypothyroid. Of course, like the ones that makes it difficult to lose weight, and of course I have both of them. And I was really angry. Because I was like, why did I get this? Why is it me? Why did it have to happen to me? Trying to lose weight all these years because I've always been a bigger person, even growing up as a kid, into my adult life, into now, right? And it always, and again, whether I ate one meal a day, whether I ate no meal at all, whether I ate, McDonald's, or whether I ate a salad, it's like I've always had to work 1,000 times harder to lose 1 pound, right? And so when she told me that, I was really bummed out. And then of course losing one of my ovaries, because I do love kids. I wanted to have kids one day. And so she's like, you can still have kids, but you have to, we have to do all these different things so that way your body can recover, and that way, whatever you do choose to do going forward for your body, that it's gonna work, right? So that is kind of what I'm dealing with right now. Really, really frustrating. After my surgery and after a few follow-ups with my doctor, she ended up retiring, and then nothing really kind of ever happened after that. And then of course we moved to Florida, me and my husband, are on the East Coast, or the Space Coast, where he works on the Space Force sector. And so and of course before I was in school, and so then getting my BA, and then since now I've gotten my MBA in HR management, and so now I'm kind of dealing with it, and it is very frustrating. I say this because I know how it feels. It's again, one day you're, let's say one day you're 10 pounds lighter, literally the next day you're 20 pounds heavier, right? Just breathing air, you feel like you're gaining weight. And again, you can eat all the salads you want every day, and you don't even lose 1 pound. And then when you look at other people, for example, my husband, he liked to always, be a part of these things with me, just like the meal plans and stuff like that. And he'll be losing 10 pounds versus me. And I'm like, how is it that you lost 10 pounds, you didn't do anything? And here I am doing my 3-mile walk, going to the gym in the morning, and eating just exactly what I need, right? And so, as I said before, here I am dealing with PCOS. And just how, just what it feels like to deal with that, because a lot of people will probably see me and be like, oh, all she probably does is eat all day long. And that's not even half the truth, right? And I don't really mope or allow myself to kind of get into that hole. But at the same time, I'm human, right? Some days, hey, I could say, F you, F that, F them, who cares? I'm human. I love myself. I'm doing what I need for myself. I don't care. But then I also have bad days too, because I'm human. I have days where I hate myself. I don't want to look at myself in the mirror. Days where I can't even look at myself, whole body length mirror. I have days where I look in the mirror and pick every single thing about myself. My flat nose, my fat cheeks, my freckled face, my big forehead, my widow's peak, and it's hard. It's hard. The truth is we're all battling our own internal battles and war, right? And so we just have to take it one step at a time. I'm learning that some days when I feel like crap, I take a step back and I tell myself, I'm going to take it one day at a time today. I'm going to, be even more intentional, especially on those bad days, right? Learning to be more intentional and then also put even more effort. Like, okay, you know what? I hate myself today. I feel like crap, but I'm still going to go do my walk on the walking pad. I am still going to drink my water. And I'm just going to probably meditate. And I'll just put on my meditation videos or songs. And even if I'm not like actually meditating, just allow myself to listen to the meditation, listen to the mantras, just something positive. It really uplifts me and it really kind of keeps me going for that day, right? And that doesn't mean that after that I'm like, woohoo, I'm great, right? It just means like, hey, one day at a time, I'm gonna be okay, right? And so I'm just, again, I'm learning baby steps. I'm learning to be very, very intentional with myself, intentional with what I do, from what I do to how I feel, to the kind of words that I talk like to myself about and how I treat myself. And then also like what I put into my body, looking at food as a form of fuel, right? Is this going to fuel my body or is this going to just, make it worse for my body? And when and I do that. And then again, I don't really deprive myself of like nothing, but really, really, truly saying, okay, that one bite was enough. Not the whole bag, right? Or not whatever, the whole tray, whatever it is. And I, because I feel like I'm always really learning to love myself all the time, whether it's every day, every season, or a certain season of life. And so that's what I'm experiencing right now. I am learning to love myself again. I am learning to fuel myself, good food, good thoughts. Approaching myself, giving myself grace, approaching myself positively, and being patient, and learning to really love this vessel, my body that I'm in, and not worry about so much what other people feel. Speaking of that, since I've always been like a bigger, person growing up, I've always felt like I've never fit the mold of what a traditional Asian girl should be, right? I'm not petite, and I don't have skinny legs and small arms and a small stomach. And so I've always felt out of place. When I was a little kid to now, I've always felt out of place. And it hurted a lot, and I avoided, going to family gatherings. I avoided seeing friends, aunts, uncles, cousins, because I was so tired and sick of hearing them ask me why I was always so fat or why am I just such a big girl. And I hated that because I didn't, because they didn't know what I was going through. And I didn't owe that to anybody. And it really sucked because I felt like being an Asian girl, that's a big Asian girl, a big Asian, a big, beautiful Asian girl, that was not accepted, especially in Asian culture, or more specifically in the Hmong culture, right? Um, and so it was really difficult. I remember crying a lot. I remember, even like that's also a reason why when I was like growing up, even in high school, why I didn't want to date a Hmong guy because of never feeling like I'm gonna be good enough. And then number two, I didn't want to have to deal with that. I didn't want to have to deal with people, your family or his family and their friends and all that, thinking that I'm just a fat person that all I do is eat all day, because that is far from the truth. And so that's kind of what I'm kind of living with right now. Just kind of dealing with right now. And I'm learning to love myself. I'm learning to, say, you know what, this is what it is. And I'm doing something about it. I love myself. I love my body, what it's done for me so far. It has gotten me through some of the toughest seasons of my life. It has not given up on me. I can still walk. I can still use both my arms and my hands. My heart still beats so strongly. And I'm going to feel my body from here on out. And so that's what I've learned. And that it's a work in progress. You never stop growing. You learn to love yourself in different ways. You learn to love yourself all the time and re-love yourself. And I want to just be able to share that, that it's okay. It's okay to feel like that. And it's okay, to not be okay. It's okay to one day hate yourself and the next day love yourself. It's okay to, fall off the wagon for this one meal because you ate a chocolate brownie, because your next decision is going to be better. And you have to make sure that that does happen, that the next time that you do make a decision, that is going to be better, right? Anywho, that is what I'm learning right now. I'm sending so much love to you, and we will talk soon. Bye-bye.